Alright, so back when I started out, I needed a solo gate in order to do practices with, and the one we were using was this one, the Vendread one. I've never actually paid attention to its story, or actually tried playing the actual deck that's involved in it, so you know what? Might as well, right? We never see this deck, so I'm assuming it's really bad. But we'll mess around with it, I guess. We'll see what it's like. And also we'll check out the dank lore. It's zombies. Left for Dead, apparently. It's an isolated thing. Within the concrete jungle of high-rise buildings, the people hustled and bustled along the sleepless city lights. However, that was long time ago. The darkness that shrouded the sky above turned the world into one that would never see morning come again. And with the darkness came monsters that threatened the peace of the city, the Vendreads. The Vendreads started as corpses that crawled out of their graves, except their bodies had transformed to something grotesque. Zombies! Without a single shred of their memories from their past life or any will of their own, they would wander the streets at night and attack any living human or animal in their path, guided only by their instinct. No firearm, tank, or any sort of modern weaponry could defeat these creatures. What's worse, anyone and anything that was unfortunate enough to become a victim of a Vendread would become one themselves. The Vendread threat was like a match thrown into a forest, spreading fear like an uncontrollable blaze. As the undead continued to rapidly multiply, those remaining of flesh and blood scrambled fruitlessly for a solution. The Vendread horde soon made their way to the hastily built wall that served as the sole line of defense for the living. Among them was a young man who had also lost his life to the undead. He was no different from the other Vendreads, wandering the same shrouded city with the same mindlessness. But as luck would have it, one day as the young man continued to drift about mindlessly, he came across a young woman who had been carried off by the Vendreads. His mind had already long faded, or should have, but as his eye caught the locket that hung from the woman's neck, something stirred within him. Memories of his past life began to flood into his head in a great crashing wave. He knew the woman with the pendant before him. She had once been the love of his life. His mind twisted and turned with desperate sadness as he realized that his love was no longer of this world. That sadness soon boiled over to a seething rage and hatred for the Vendreads that robbed her of her life. As his mind dragged itself out from the bogs of the undead depths, a flame of hatred ignited his heart. The violent burst of emotion tore his body apart with unbearable pain as it began to transform and rebuild itself into something much stronger. He became an elite zombie! When the transformation ended, the man steadied his uneven breath and stood up. He took the locket and hung it around his neck so he could keep the memory of his beloved close by. Then he spoke into the silent night. I swear, I will vanquish every last one of these walking corpses if it's the last thing I do. And thus, a new agent of vengeance was born. He was the Vendread who would hunt the other Vendread. Vendread Slayer. This was the beginning of the Lone Revenger's fierce battle. Okay. Seems like a fairly basic zombie premise. Whoa, mutant animals. Even in that day, the living struggled bravely from within the city wall to keep alive. The Vendread horde that pursued the living was pushed against the barrier like crashing waves, and showed no sign of ever stopping. Their numbers seemed to only be going up too. They continued to groan and wail deep into the night, day after day. The terror was too much. The citizens were finding it harder and harder to keep sane under these horrific circumstances. But then, a single shadow loomed over the horde. The shadow darted forth and cut down the Vendread with a single swoop, quick as lightning. But he didn't stop there. Any Vendread that dared stand in his way would be stabbed, hit, kicked, and knocked down. They would have their limbs and rotten flesh torn, twisted, and ripped from their bodies. And once the shadow had finished hunting down every last walking corpse that plagued the city wall, he disappeared back into darkness as quickly as he had appeared, not even sparing a single moment to look back at the crowd he had just saved. But the Vendread Slayer was not interested in being a hero. All he wanted was revenge, and he would not stop at anything to destroy any Vendread that entered his line of sight. Con mine! But regardless of his intentions, the fact was that he had swooped onto the scene like a bolt from the blue and defeated all the Vendreads. To the survivors, he was the single ray of hope. Word of the mysterious undead hunter began to spread quickly through the city. As the knights continued, he too continued his battles. However, the Vendreads weren't going to stand for being hunted down so mercilessly. With the carnage, the undead began to change. Up to now, the humans and animals that turned into Vendreads had stayed about the same physical size as they had been when they passed. That was one of the main reasons the survivors had been able to keep their horde back with just their average human strength. However, now that the Vendreads were being pursued by a relentless executor in the form of Vendread Slayer, they began to feel threatened. Some of them even began to merge with each other to create a bigger Vendread. Few words could describe how grotesque it looked, and people began to name it after a certain multi-headed beast of legend. They called it the Vendread Chimera. The creature would threaten the safety of the people beyond the walls for many more nights. It possessed the powers and strength of numerous Vendreads, and even the Slayer was beginning to have trouble fighting it. Every time they battled, the Slayer would only just manage to fight it off. He was never successful in completely silencing it. However, the more they fought, the more weaknesses were uncovered. The Slayer found that within the Chimera there lay a core that governed all its actions. The Slayer charged at the core and threw all his strength into it, destroying it. And finally, the Chimera crumbled into a pile of rotten flesh and bones. At first, it seemed that the Slayer's do-or-die attack had ended things once and for all with the agglomeration of animosity, while that's a word, that was the Chimera, but the tragedy would only further unfold from here. The clash of the undead would only escalate, further and further into something beyond human comprehension. All the survivors could do was pray that one day, the Vendread would be vanquished and dawn would break once more over their city. Alright, let's find out how this deck works. Apparently it's ritual themed, yes, so we will be ritual summoned. Yep, okay, it's a ritual monster deck. If you choose a non-ritual Vendread monster and you feel a tribute for a tribute for a ritual summon. Ritual for a tribute summon. The ritual summon monster gain additional effects. Alright. You consume the dead's effects to go stronger. I see. A little bit. Ritual summon Vendread Slayer win a duel during this turn. Whoa, okay. I skipped by a little too quickly. You attack the opponent's monster 0, but be careful with the card set in the opponent's draw and traps. Alright. Man, I'm trying to click once and apparently it happens twice. Alright. A Vendread monster ritual summon using this card of the field gains the following effect. Target 1, spell trap and banish. Alright. So summon, and then we use Vendread Origin. You can use this to ritual summon any Vendread ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. Okay, so this works from graveyard as well. Tribute monsters from your hand or field or banish zombie monsters from your graveyard. Total levels equal its the level. And this also gives one-time destruction protection. Alright. So we will summon Vendread Slayer by sending tributing these two. Does he have an animation? Sure does. Here is Ritual Summoned Vendread Slayer. And now he has the quick effect. Inherently though, what does he have? If he battles an opponent's monster, you can banish a zombie monster from the graveyard and gain 300 attack. Huh. Basic battle tricks, I guess. And if this is sent to the graveyard, you can recur a ritual spell from the deck so you can resummon it. Okay, I see. So we banish that. Then we go to battle phase. And then we can do our little battle trick. By banishing a card out of the graveyard, we gain a little more attack. And this is a permanent attack. Makes sense. Alright. So that's just the main monster, I guess. Vendread Slayer. Now we will use the actual loner. So other than that, let's see what else we have. Main deck monsters. If we make it of this, we can draw one, discard one. Okay. This one's just a banish value piece. This one is a level modulator. Do we really need it that badly? But also it's more yeah, more foolishness of zombie monsters, makes sense. This one's the quick effect spell trap banish. Is that really all we have? Okay, no, we've got one more mean deck monster. Quick effect, special summon monster banish. Alright, cool. And the field spell lets us discard one to add one, so we can bin more zombies. Makes sense. And then it's our ritual spell. And the traps. We can tribute an opponent's monster. So removal and we get a token. Removal and we get a token that we can use for ritual summoning. Alright. And then this last one. If you have a ritual monster in your hand, special summon any number of banished Vendread monsters face down, and then you tribute them, and ritual summon. Alright. So this is just a backup thing, I guess. Makes sense. Okay. Let's give this a shot. It's not a particularly strong theme, that's for sure, just looking at it. So like, best case scenario is you get quick effect spell and trap banish and quick effect monster banish. That's literally all it's got. It's got removal. Yes. Alright. So field spell first. We have the ritual monster. But we don't have any of the... I think we have to banish... We want to banish this one. Sorry, we want to send that one to the graveyard. And we need Vendread Slayer in our hand in order to do anything, which is really annoying. No, actually, no, we don't. It's level 6, so what do we want here? Are we worried about the back foot? Well, let's see. We're level 6. We can just normal summon Gozuki. Then 2 plus 4 is 6. I guess we can go for... We'll go for hand cycling. This is not a format where we're gonna die instantly, so that should be fine. Normal summon Gozuki. Activate its effect to Foolish Burial Vendread Slayer. And the Vendread Slayer is live in the graveyard, so we can ritual summon Vendread Slayer by tributing Gozuki from our hand, from our field, and Vendread Strikers from our hand again. So tribute these two. And we will get out the Vendread Slayer. And since Gozuki was sent to the graveyard, we can banish a zombie monster from our graveyard. So we can banish Shinobi Necro. In order to special summon from our hand Uni-Zombie. And Shinobi Necro can special summon itself from the from the banish zone as it was banished for any effect. Now we have access to a tuner and a well, we have a tuner and a non-tuner, but we can't actually. None of our levels add up, I think. Just checking. Herald of the Arclight's 4. But we can't link. But we can make a link monster. Vendread stays in the wrong spot though. Two zombie monsters for Vampire Sucker. If we tribute a monster for a tribute summon, we can tribute one of the monsters your opponent controls. Ooh. Target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to their defense position. So the zombie monster special summon right in the graveyard, draw a card. Alright, that could be pretty good. Alright, Vampire Sucker seems like it's just a good value piece for us right now, so we can go for that. I don't think we're gonna get anything too fancy beyond that, so... Alright. Let's go for battle here. We'll attack and destroy that monster. It's gonna trigger their effect draw. Vendread Chimera. Then we can also attack directly. Damn. We can banish Vendread Origin here to keep the protection. So that works. That means too. Summon one of their monsters from the graveyard to draw a card. Which triggers its effect and we can draw a card. I don't know how good that card advantage was, giving him an extra monster back on the field, but you know, we'll see how it goes. We didn't make this with any quick effects, so... Well... We're letting him summon Vendread Chimera here. Who has an effect to negate... let me see. Banish a zombie monster from the graveyard and negate the activation and destroy it. Alright. I don't think it really matters using that, so... Since it was sent to the graveyard, we can add another Vendread Origin to our hand. And then we can send... Alright, we can send that. Alright. So first we can discard a card. And and add... Excuse me. We can add this to our hand. Vendread Revenants. And next... We've got the Spell Trap Banish. This is the Monster Banish. And this is the Draw 1, Discard 1. Alright. So we'll discard Vendread Stragus. The special summon Vendread Hound Horde. lets us draw a card. You can also activate this effect to show a Vendread card. You special summon it to the field. You can draw a card. It's only once per turn though. Okay, I don't think we need to normal summon here, so... Now we just activate Vendread Origin. We can special summon it by sending. For spell negate, spell banish. Trap banish. Come forth, Vendread Slayer. Now he has quick effects in order to target a spell with trap and banish it. You can target a special summon monster your opponent controls banish. Why can't I use the effect? Well, that's fine. Do we have a tuner? Uni Zombie's a tuner. But he's not the right level. I don't think we can actually go into Herald right now, so... We could go Link 4. Climb into Yukiona. Alright, I don't think we can do any extra summoning right now, so... Might just have to go. Or use the effect. Oh, banish... Just banish any zombie, right? Doesn't really matter. You won't be dealing lethal. Alright, brings back Vendread Chimera. Can't deal with it right now, but... Is there anything I can bin here that will do anything? We can go Herald actually, and now I'm looking at it. Or we can go rank 4. Alright. We only have the one though, so... Let's return those to the graveyard. Alright, then yeah, we'll have to use Foolish Burial here. Banish, send Mizuki to the graveyard. Activate Mizuki in graveyard. Banish it. To special summon... Yeah, this is the only tuner, so... And with this, we can either go into Herald of the Arclight here. To just like flat up negates everything. Negates everything, turns off the graveyard. On both sides. Or we can go into a Link 4. If a monster is special summon in the graveyard and monster effect is activated in the graveyard, target of a monster in the field change attack to 0 and negate. Okay. This seems like a better value piece than Herald. And also, Yuki-onna is big. Right, guess that's gonna be the end board. So we have Quick Effect, Spell Banish, and Monster Banish. Oh wait, no, it's only on the field, not from the hand, that's fine. Oh, that's fine. We could banish Call of the Haunted and destroy that. Yeah. Right. Cool. Well, don't mind if I do. I don't think we need any more extra deck plays. That works. Discard that. We just need an attacker to get lethal here. Go ahead and banish that back row. Yep. We have lethal here. Yuki-onna checks this. So we've calculated this correctly. Vendread Slayer, attack. Banishes a zombie monster. Gains attack. Pops and dies. Effect will get special summon. Oh, wait, that's damage then. Alright, that's fine. Ah, still not lethal. Darn. Well, we're in a pretty good position, regardless. I think you don't need to worry too much about it. Yeah, he's got nothing. Okay. It is kind of fun to be given, like, a loner deck and figure out how it works and stuff. Like, I've never seen this deck before. It's not got a lot of options, but it's got some options, and figuring out the options is kind of fun. I do like it. After a long and bitter struggle, Vendread Slayer would finally destroy the Vendread Chimera threat. No one could predict that this defeat would only bring more dreadful threats. One day, the Slayer felt a menacing presence like never before, overflowing with an unabating grudge. He immediately headed toward it, determined to find the source. He saw that the wall had been broken through, even though it had held up well against the Chimera threat. The wall and the scavenged armored vehicles that were taking the brunt of the attacks were destroyed, and countless people were found slain. The Vendread horde had a different leader now. It was much larger than the Chimera had been, and was clad in heavy armor. Enveloping it was a thick and ominous aura of resentment. It was Vendread Battlelord, and it had been born from the grudges of all the Vendreads that the Slayer had defeated. Their collective hunger for vengeance against the Slayer had combined into a frightening force, and Wherever the Battle Lord went, it would leave a trail of death and destruction behind. It was one lone fighter's wish to eradicate the Vendread against the Horde's desire to crush the Executor. But it's just doomed. Alright. Their rage came to a head, and thus another clash to the death began. The Battle Lord's might was far more tremendous than the Slayer could have ever imagined, as represented by these cards. Not only could it absorb the surrounding Vendread, but also those who had lost their lives at the scene. The Battle Lord had a steady supply of fodder, and it only grew more powerful as time went on. No matter how strong the Slayer's desire for revenge was, his blade stood no chance against his foe. He pushed and tried everything he could to gain the upper hand, but in the end, he was overwhelmed by the Battle Lord's immense strength. Vendread Slayer lay limp on the ground, wounded and battered, like he was a ragdoll that had been flung aside. Vendread Battlelord picked up the small hunter in its enormous hand. Then, just as it had done to the other Vendreads and the fallen victims, it reached its other hand towards the Slayer's chest to absorb his powers. The Slayer's consciousness was sinking into nothingness fast, but then the faint glint of his locket caught his eye. That tiny gleam was enough to remind him that his mission was not yet over. With his conviction renewed, the flame in his heart lit up once more. No wound on his body could stop him now. The Slayer mustered all the strength he had left, and right before the Battle Lord could absorb his powers, he plunged his hand into the Vendread's chest and ripped out its core. Holding the core, the Slayer began to feel a new surge of energy. His body was absorbing the hateful power that the Battle Lord had possessed. The tides were turning. With the Battle Lord's powers flowing into the Slayer now, its body started to crumble. However, just as the Slayer began to think the fight was finally over, the core, struggling for survival, brushed against the Slayer's pendant of a stray hand. The Battle Lord's remains, along with the Vendreads that surround him, began to transform. They all began to take on the form of the woman that the Slayer cherished in his previous life. Oh, the drama! But that single touch of the locket, the core had sensed the remaining dread to the Slayer's love and sought to destroy his morale with it. The Slayer froze. Was this a dream? No, this was no dream. He shook his head, trying to remind himself that the love of his life was already gone. This was a nightmare that was trying to ensnare him! He balled his fist in anger. How dare these scum disgrace the memory of his beloved? As his burning rage surged and finally exploded, he found himself transforming into a new form of stronger powers. He had become the Vendread Executor. Oh, they had more boss monsters hiding in the archetype. Alright, fair enough. Let's take a look at it. Vendread Executor. He's level 8 as opposed to level 6, so we'll need extra fodder. Card's name becomes Vendread Slayer on the field as well. Alright. Targeting protection for the rest of the field. Alright. And if it's destroyed by battle or destroyed by opponent's card effect or in its own monster zone, add a card. He's tutored. Targeting protection. Don't know how well that's gonna work. Oh hey, they gave us pre-prep this time. Now I can actually do some stuff. Oh, they also have a continuous spell. Tribute one or more Vendread monsters from your hand or field. The target one face-up monster you control increases level by the number of monsters tributed at the end of the turn. And then you get an attack boost. Okay. Oh hey, Beatrice. It's a banned card now. We get to play with it. Okay, we have a few more options, but not that many. I feel like going into Executor over Slayer isn't that much of an upgrade because we lose the quick effects, right? Oh wait, no. We get the quick effects still by tributing them from field. So yeah, that makes sense. Alright. So if we can funnel into it, we want to try and funnel into it. Let's see how this goes. Alright, finally, the ritual stuff. Pre-prep. And we will add Vendread Origin. And Slayer. Alright, we need the main deck monsters. So we can discard one of the Slayers. And then we need to add... Which of these does it? Yeah, targeting protection. Do you want the quick effect banish? Okay, quick effect back row banish probably works. Now we have normal summon and then we have to... from a hand. Oh, this works too. Okay. So there wasn't any real need to do any of that. Okay. Do any of our Link 2s do anything here? No. Alright. This wasn't quite enough. We have an effectless Vendread Slayer. But we have a board wipe now, I guess? If it comes down to it. I should have normal summoned then. Alright, fair enough. I didn't quite plan that properly. Our hand was kind of messy, to be honest. Alright, here's Battle Lord. Guy in the lore. Spell cards. Damn, we're getting dismantled. Alright. So Battle Lord is rest of turn lockout, funny enough. Okay, but now we actually have some material to work with. Alright. Discard Burial. I think we get executed here, right? No, both our Vendread Slayers are banished. I think we need more levels. We've got 3 represented in the graveyard. And we can get up to 4 maximum. I think we want to grab that, yeah. Then we activate pre-prep. Interestingly enough, I don't know why it's not giving me the option. This is a ritual monster, yeah? His name is mentioned in the ritual spell. Oh, the name is specifically mentioned. Alright. The Vendread executes only works odds on the field. Wow, this archetype sucks. You can't even search its bigger ritual monster with pre-prep. That's wacky. Okay, we can get both quick effects here if we do this. So we discard Slayer, special. Hound Horde. Then we activate Origin to summon Slayer out of the graveyard and tribute these two. And now we have quick effect Spell Banish and Monster Banish. I think we want to banish that. Okay, and then we'll just banish that to get the perma attack boost. We want to become bigger. We're just bouncing Wee Witch Apprentice back to the extra deck, alright. So far so good, we're funneling a lot of resources in though. No plays, really. Well, we can't use this pre-prep. But I can discard one. Add one. Guess I'll just get some material first. This is a really weird way of playing because I never realized how long these games would go, how many turns you want to use. You actually have to start using the normal summon. I think we want to take that off the board as well, right? We don't want them fusion summoning. We don't want them ritual summoning with it. Okay. I don't think there's anything else we're gonna be banishing necessarily, so we can banish it to take that off the board. Although he's not using Vendread Slayer, I'm pretty sure. So Battle Lord's back out. All monsters the opponent controls loses 500 attack and defense. We better banish Battle Lord. We better banish Lord. Banish it before he can use his ignition effect. Alright. We cool. Okay, we've got Origin. Well, I guess that's fine then. We'll just go to battle. Adding Chimera. I need another card to discard in order to special the big one. Another set card. Ritual summon wants to destroy into the end phase of the next turn. Send a Vendread monster from your deck to the graveyard as total levels equal to the level of the ritual monster. Oh, I see. This lets you cheat out a monster. Well, that's fine. Well, we're trying to have fun here, right? So I guess we'll rank up into the big one. So we can actually do all this from the graveyard, I think. Although we don't have much material there. I don't think there's much point linking than doing it from there. We'll lose our quick effect spell banish if we do it that way. But we get more material. We could go crush. That's not gonna do that much. But we could go piercing. That might actually be the call here. I'll mess around with it. So we go Pentastag, and then Origin to Special Executor from hand by sending you and you. And summon it into the linked zone so we get Pierce 3000. Okay. Oh, that's lethal. Cool. Well, we managed to crack it. And that was a fun little puzzle. Fueled only by his scorching hatred, Vendread Executor swooped through the horde and cut down the false figures of his beloved, one after another. He had been fighting his foe for days that could no longer be countered all alone, and after absorbing Vendread Battlelord, his grudge only grew bigger with his Vendread powers. It was barely being kept in balance with his human heart. His mind and body had long been pushed past their limits. It was already a miracle that he was able to exist with both life and death in one vessel. It didn't matter anymore if what remained of his humanity faded or if his body fell apart. Nothing could stop him now. All he had on his mind was to fight, and fight and fight. He threw everything he had into this single desire. Then, at long last, the Vendread horde moved no more. The battle had finally come to a close. The rays of the sun broke through the dark veil of the sky, illuminating the slayer. Just how long had this war waged on for? The city survivors squinted, unaccustomed to the bright light. But oh, what a joyous sight it was! No one ever thought they would see the end of those eternal nights, but here the sun was in all its glory. The Slayer could feel his body fading with the light. He bent over to pick up the locket that had been taken from around his neck. All the Vendreads had been defeated, and the darkness that engulfed the city was gone. But at the end of the day, he too was a Vendread, and now it was his time to go. 07. Now that the undead threat had passed with the endless nights, the survivors were able to return to their peaceful lives. However, the grief of losing so many lives left an unmendable hole in their hearts. A lot of the survivors also developed a fear of the night, and were plagued by nightmares of the horrors they had faced. Unbeknownst to them, a single shadow watched over them from atop the glowing skyscrapers. Just like he had saved the city, the survivors had saved him. Although the Slayer had set out for revenge, he had still saved countless lives and they all celebrated him as their hero. They were able to hold on to hope because of this lone fighter, and as the Slayer was slipping into the darkness of that fateful day, the survivor's kind hearts had pulled him back. Thus, he was able to remain in the mortal world without disappearing like the other Vendreads. If the world ever fell to darkness again, if monsters threatened the lives of the people again, he would surely swing his blade for them once more, but this time, without the resentment he once harbored in his heart. If that time ever came, he would fight not for vengeance, but for peace, and to give the people courage and hope when they needed it. He is now a common rider. Oh hey, this actually is a card, huh? Vendread Savior, 2 zombie monsters. Cast name becomes Vendread Slayer roll on the field. Target a Vendread card in your graveyard added to your hand. The 2 linked monsters, yeah. You can send 1 zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard. A bonus monster does attack equal to the level of the monster until the end of the turn. It's just a graveyard recur and a battle trick? Not a very useful link to, is it? I guess it might be a combo piece, but is it really going to be doing much else? I don't know. Whole thing. Alright. Whoa, what is this deck we're using? It's got Hulk in it, it's banned. But hey, we have Vendread Slayer in here. Why do we have Cyphering Mod Omega? Chaos Ruler? Ah. A lot of options. Alright, I'm just gonna hop right in and see if we can figure out how to play this, like, by ourselves. This is an AI fight, so, you know, we can just spend time reading the deck if need be. Alright. We're starting a pre-prep for Origin and Slayer. Vampire Kingdom. And set a card. Ah. Okay. Zombie monsters gain 500 attack during damage calculation only. The card is sent from your opponent's deck to the graveyard. Target a card on the field, send a Dark Vampire monster from hand or deck to the graveyard, and destroy a target. I see. So we can Diviner. Send a fairy monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. We have Herald of Arclight here. And we can also tribute it. Diviner for Herald, and Herald will get us the monster as well. Or we can just go directly into the Ritual Summon. There's nothing stopping us. And then we can go from there into the tuner, technically. Okay, yeah, I think I got this. Normal Diviner. Diviner send Herald of Arclight. Herald of Arclight. At do we want Executor here? We have Battle Lord. I think Executor is the end board piece we need. Then we can tribute using Vendread Origin. We can special Executor, and we can tribute Herald and one other monster. Tribute Herald and tribute Houndhorde? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think this is the correct one. And that gets us Executor, with no other quick effects, but we have target protection for everything else. And Diviner will let us special this thing. So we have a tuner. Then we can also activate Houndhorde in Graveyard Discard Slayer, and then special it. We can make a Baron. Yeah, there's nothing stopping us from making a Baron. We can also go for Hulk. So we're gonna sync a monster from our extra deck. In this case, our only valid target of Hulk is shooting Riser Dragon. And then we can immediately Synchro Climb again. So this is a line that gets us into... I don't think it's actually worth going into Hulk here. Not as much anyway. So we can just directly Synchro into Baron or something. Alright, let me see if I can do this properly then. So Vendread Origin to special Slayer by sending Hound Horde from the field and Mizuki from the hand. That gets us Vendread Slayer. Slayer has the effect now that we can quick effect banish that. And then we can go level 2 plus level 8 to Synchro summon we can Synchro Chaos Ruler. Or we can go for a Link monster. Okay, well we have targeting protection right now, we've used the value piece, so I think Chaos Ruler might be good here. I maybe shouldn't put it in the EMZ in case I want to do any Link summon and stuff, but that's fine. So we'll activate the effect to excavate 5, and we'll also use Vendread Slayer's effect to add another card back to hand. Tribute monsters from hand or field, or send a Vendread monster from your deck to the graveyard. Okay, total level is equal to the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. From hand or graveyard, alright. Can we send Vendread Slayer for Vendread Slayer? Maybe. Destroy during the end phase next turn. Okay, we'll try that. Then let's us send, or we can get a bigger monster. Could send Battle Lord and ritual summon Battle Lord out for 2700. Potentially. Okay, well I'll just spin that then, yeah. Then we excavate the top 5. That adds one of these to our hand. We might be able to OTK this turn, actually, if I'm doing this correctly. Okay, add a level 5 or higher zombie monster from deck to hand. I think we want this in the graveyard, actually. Yeah, we need... no, we need that in order to add more materials at hand. Send to the graveyard, can banish this cover in graveyard, add a level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck to your hand. And we can add Slayer to the hand. And then we can now activate Vendread Evolution to Ritual Summon Battle Lord by sending from our hand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can send it entirely from our hand. That gets us Battle Lord here. Got a few options here. Then we can banish a card from our graveyard to special summon one of these monsters that we've already used. Alright, so we can actually bring back Vendread Slayer here. Without its effects, but still, we're putting all lethal on the board. And then we can banish a Vendread card from our graveyard. Declare one type of card, monster, spell, or trap. So we can banish this Slayer. I'm gonna declare monster card, because why not? And then we can banish this card from our graveyard, Vendread Anima. That other Slayer wasn't properly summoned, but that's fine. And then we can banish this to target a zombie monster in our graveyard and special summon it. Chernobyl Solitaire. Now we can tribute this and special summon a zombie tuner. Tribute itself and special summon 3, 6, 4. Okay, we can make a level 4 synchro. No, wait, no, we're zombie locked right now. All right, makes sense. Let's see. Return any more zombie synchro monsters that are banished or in your graveyard. The extra deck can destroy a card your opponent controls. 1, 3, and 7. Okay, this works. 1, 3, and 6, sorry. So we can't use its effect because we don't have any zombie synchro monsters in the graveyard, but that's, you know, a lot of damage. Let's see if we can OTK. Yeah, he's got monster effects turned off right now, so I think that's game. Alright. It was an OTK turn. We had to explore all the options in our deck, and it took us a little bit, but you know, that was fun. We figured out a line and we managed to OTK. Cool. It's kind of fun actually, like figuring out lines to lethal, essentially. It's like puzzle solving almost. I wouldn't mind playing a game where it's mostly that. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually kind of a lot of fun when you're trying to like find lines to lethal.